Okay, so welcome to the professional voice. Just like we said, is the time of the year, or is the time where we want to learn what exactly the professional voice is all about. And so today we will be looking at a whole lot of things. But first of all, we want to start by talking about what exactly is a professional voice. When we keep saying the professional voice, what does it really mean? What does it really entail? And that's what we want to learn today. Number one, the first thing you want to note about today's class is that the professional voice has nothing to do with a special accent. So you don't want to say, okay, but I didn't have an accent. I didn't know how to do this. I can't twist my voice. I was talking with someone around last week, one of my students. We were having a conversation last week, and then she said, the problem is I can't really get to twist my voice like you do. And I said, I'm not twisting my voice. It's just normal. And another thing is, having sounding eloquent, sounding fluent has nothing to do with twisting your voice. It has nothing to do with trying to sound like another person. It's not you trying to sound foreign or a borrowed way of speaking or trying to be someone that you're not. That's not what it is about. It has nothing to do with let me twist my voice. I want to sound like this person. Yes, 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 yes. There is the place for what we call shadowing. It is one of the techniques of learning how to speak very well. And in that process, you get to listen to someone who speaks very well and try to speak exactly like them. Now, that is what the professional voice is about. That's part of the process that leads to the professional voice. So the professional voice has nothing to do with twisting your voice. Of course, it has everything to do with shadowing, learning how to speak differently, learning how to speak like another person. I mean, learn the accents or learn pronunciations, intonations from another person, which is one of the processes. It's called shadowing, like I tried to explain earlier. However, it's not you trying to be the person. You will still be your real self. The professional voice is your true voice, your very voice, your very accent. The only difference is it's clearer now, it's more confident, and it is more intentional. So, what we're going to be learning through this training is how we want to arrive at this place where our voice sounds more confident, you sound clearer. You don't want to find yourself talking and then someone is saying, sorry, I didn't get what you said. Can you come again? Stuff like that. But you want to be sure that they understand what you're saying. They get you and they get you clearly. So now, another thing you want to note about professional voice is that it is able to command a room. That is to say, wherever you find yourself and then you're called upon to speak, to make your point, to give your suggestion or whatever it is. You want to be able to get people's attention simply by how you sound. All right. Now, this isn't something that's you want to call attention in the negative. You want to be sure that you're getting people's attention, people's focus, not because you have a terrible accent. Because one of the ways you want to prove that you get people's attention is that you have a very terrible accent. So sometimes you can hear people talking to you, or you can have you can get people's attention, so they turn and they're looking at you, and it's because you have a terrible accent. It's because while you were speaking or while you were talking, you were using an accent, they could tell this is a Yoruba person, this is an Igbo person, this is a Hausa person. They could tell from the way you sound. So that's exactly what we're saying. The fact that your accent, your commanding a room can be in the positive as well as in the negative. But when we're talking about the professional voice here, we're not talking about your ability to command attention simply because you sound terrible. It's because of the authority in your voice. It's because it's so clear. It's because it's very intentional. So that's another thing you want to take note of. Now, the number fourth thing about the professional voice is that your ideas, your qualifications, your experience need a clear, confident channel to succeed. Now, why am I saying this? It's because no matter what that qualification that you have, you certainly need a good communication skill to express that. I remember while I was trying to put up an advert for the professional voice, one of the days I was talking about, a lot of people say, hey, please, I'm already a graduate, I already know what I'm doing, I already have a job, I don't think working on my conversation or my communication is something I should be doing right now. And I was saying a lot in so many rooms, in so many places, people who don't even have sharp ideas as good as yours are the ones who get certain opportunities. Why? Because they were able to command attention with their very low, shabby, I don't know how to put it now, but not so good ideas like yours. You have very good ideas, you have very good certificates, you have good ideologies, perspective to things. However, your ability to express these things is what matters. It's not just about having all of these things, it's how you want to express it. So that's why we're saying that communication is currency. It is a channel through which you can express these things that you have, these qualifications, is a channel to which you want to say, I know I can do this. I believe I can handle it. I have the best ideas for these things. Otherwise, you find that people whose ideas are not even as good as yours are the ones who get the opportunity every time, simply because they are the ones who command the room. They are the ones whose voice sound clearer, more confident, more intentional. So that's not what you want for yourself. Now we want to look at what exactly the professional voice is about. What is a professional voice? What and why is it so important? It is important because in the professional space, communication is currency, just like I explained. Your ideas, your qualifications, your experience, none of it reaches anyone if it cannot be expressed clearly and confidently. You could be the most prepared person in the room and still lose the opportunity to someone who simply express themselves better. I like to use myself as an example. I've gone for several interviews and I got the job not because I was the best person, not because I was the most qualified candidate, but simply because of the way I expressed myself. I expressed the little ideas I had, and then they felt, oh, good. And one occasion, the how do I put it now? The COO actually said to me, the CEO, sorry, you made an impression on the person you spoke with on the phone. Now, who was this person I spoke with on the phone? She was the COO of the company. But I got a better slot. I got the qualification. I got the job simply because I made an impression on her. She had never seen me. We'd never met one on one before. She only spoke to me on the phone. She interviewed me on the phone. And that conversation she had with me was enough for her to know that no, this is the kind of person we want to work with. Let's talk about the elements of a professional voice. The elements of a professional voice. Number one is what I call clarity. You want to be very understood. You want people to understand what you're saying. You want them to not just hear you, but you want them to understand you. Now, this is one of the elements of a professional voice. Another element is what we call articulation. How you pronounce your sounds, the sounds that are in a word. You don't want to just assume, you don't want to blur some words, you don't want to slur on them. No, you want to sound as clear and as confident as possible. Another one is what we call pronunciation. How do you pronounce words? How do you stress your word? Because pronunciation has, it doesn't just have everything to do with the sounds of the word. It also deals with the stress. How do you stress a word? A lot of people say, let me cite an example. Some people say things like calendar. All right, please get a calendar for me. But if you look at the right way that word is stressed, you will realize that the stress is not on the first syllable, it's not on the second syllable rather. So when you say calendar, you put the stress on the second syllable. But that word actually, okay, when we say calendar, we put the stress on the first syllable, sorry. But that word actually has is stress on the second syllable. So we say calendar, calendar. And that's because the first letter, the first A there has what we call the schwa sound, which is part of what we will be looking at today as we proceed. Okay, sorry, it's raining over here, so I had to take a quickly mute my mic so I could close the windows because of the rain. Okay. So now we also want to talk about your pace. How fast you speak. Are you too fast? Are you too slow? Are you properly understood? You also want to look at your pitch. How is your pitch? How is it? Are you too loud? Are you too low? Do people have to strain their ears just to hear you? And then we also want to talk about projection. How are you projecting? The ability to send your voice clearly without straining from breath and posture. In one of the articles I wrote about your exercise, your health habits as someone who's into public speaking. You can just eat whatever it is you want to eat. Of course, there is that place to do that. But then once you are close to having a presentation, one of the things you want to look out for is what we call is what you eat and all of that because you want to be sure that you have very very good projection. You don't want to stand there speaking and then you're excuse me excuse me. No, you wouldn't want that at all. Of course, we're also looking at fluency. This has to do with how you speak smoothly, how you connect your ideas, how you use your choice of words in a Lovat. And then, of course, we have intentionality and we have confidence. Now, this and so much more is part of what we will be looking at tonight. When we talk about professional voice, we're looking at how you pronounce words, your pronunciation, just like we've seen, your clarity, your articulation, your grammar, your sound, your pitch. Do not mispronounce word at all. As much as you can, keep learning and try not to mispronounce words. Okay, so we will be going straight up into these items that we said we're going to be looking at tonight. First of all, I'd like to make this correction about this choice of words, okay? So this is actually the aspect that we call grammar. Like I said, professional voice has to do with grammar, pronunciations, intonations, your tone, and all of that. Okay. So it starts with this. I'm just going to try to be as fast as I can. And of course, good thing is we are recording, so you can always have access to this recording and keep learning, okay? So this correction is based on what I call who versus that. We must know when we're speaking to people, we must know what to use. Are we going to say who or are we going to say that? Now, I had to pick this correction because I've heard a lot of people who make this mistake. They are talking about a person, but they are using that. It is very common. So you hear someone say, the girl that won the competition is in primary five. No, 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 no. You can't be talking about a person and you use the word that. We use the word that for inanimate objects or for animals or for things. We don't use the word that for human beings. So as much as you can, please, 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 if you are referring to a person, use who. If you're talking about animals, please use that, okay? Because when you talk about people, and you use that, you make them look like animals or inanimate objects. And of course, that is certainly not who they are. So when you talk about people, when you're referring to people, when the focus is on the people, use who. When the focus is on the item or the object or an animal, use that. Let's take a quick look at these examples. The student who reads widely speaks confidently. The student who reads widely speaks confidently. You shouldn't say the student that reads widely speaks confidently. No, the teacher who inspired me has retired. The teacher who inspired me has retired. You certainly do not want to say the teacher that inspired me has retired. Please do not say the teacher that inspired me. Say the teacher who inspired me has retired. The girl who won the competition is in primary five. The girl who won the competition is in primary five. Okay, so you don't want to say the girl that won, who is the girl that won the competition? You say, hey, the girl that won the competition is in primary five. No, the question and the response is incorrect. Who is the girl who won the competition? The girl who won the competition is in primary five. So you want to say the girl who won and not the girl that won. The principal who addressed us is very strict. Now, the principal that addressed us is very strict. The boy who sits in the front always asks questions. You shouldn't say the boy that sits in front always asks, the boy that sits in front always asks questions. No, the boy who sits in front always asks questions, okay? Now, the next part of it, let's look at examples for that. The book that fell off the shelf belongs to me. The pen that is on the table is mine. The school that won the trophy is in Lagos. The chair that broke during assembly has been fixed. The timetable that was posted on the board has been removed, okay? Please ensure that you're using that and not who. Of course, when you're talking about things, you're free to use that. When you're talking about people, you certainly want to ensure that you're using who instead. Now, let's look at these things, okay? Let's look at the side-by-side comparison. The teacher who marked our script, you're referring to the teacher now. So you say who. Now, when you're talking, when your emphasis is on the script, you use that. So we have on this side, the teacher who marked our script. On the other side, we have the script that were marked. So you see, when you're referring to the script now, you use that. But on the other side, when you're referring to the teacher, you use who. The student who forgot his bag. And on the other hand, we have the bag that was forgotten. On the other side, number three, we have the woman who owns the school. On the other side, you're referring to the school now. You say the school that she owns. Okay, so when you're referring to the object, use that. When you're referring to the person, use who. Okay, I believe that is clear. Now let's look at this other part of it. You and me versus you and I. I get to hear this a lot. In fact, one of the days I was taking a class and then someone came up to me and said, I don't understand what you're saying. How would you be saying you and me? What do you mean by you and me versus you and I? Where did all of this come from? We have already been taught, that's what the person was saying. We have already been taught that it is for instance, my wife and I. So why are you saying my wife and me? And I said it depends on the context. First thing you want to clarify is the fact that every single time you come last, you who is the speaker, whoever the speaker is, comes last in that sentence. So when you're talking about you in connection to another person, you who is the speaker, you come last. So you wouldn't say, I and this person did this. You will say, this person and I did this. Okay. So even if you have three other persons, including yourself, you can say, Mary, Blessing, Peter, and I went to do this. My friends and I, my parents and I, my parents, my uncles, my aunties, my teachers, and I. So it doesn't matter how many people, you just want to ensure that you come last in that sentence, okay? However, there are instances where you get to say you and me, and then there are those times where you get to say you and I. How do you know? Now, a very quick way that I always teach people to know these things is take you off the sentence. Just take you off the sentence and bring the sentence directly to you. That is, apply the sentence directly to you. If it will be appropriate to say, I'm going to do this, then when you bring the full sentence together, say you and I. If you take away you from the equation and then it is more appropriate to say me, then when you bring the sentence together, you say you and me. I don't know if it is clear. Let's look at some examples. Let's look at some examples to clarify this, okay? Now, let's look at sentences or statements, and then let's look at questions, how this applies in questions, all right? So number one, we have in statements, you and I need to study for the exam. You and I need to study for the exam. Now, applying the rule that I taught you, if you want to take away you will say, I need to study for the exam. You certainly will not say, me need to study for the exam. So that makes you and me inappropriate in this context. So I need to study for the exam. So that means you and I need to study for the exam. You and I are responsible for the presentation. You and I were selected to represent the school because applying the rule that I said, you will say I am selected to represent the school. You wouldn't say me selected because it sounds very inappropriate, okay? You will say, I am selected to represent the school. So that means if you're bringing that together in connection to another person, you will say, you and I, we're selected to represent the school. Let's look at this other example. You and I have been working hard this term. You and I have been working hard this term. You and I must arrive early tomorrow. You and I must arrive early tomorrow. This is when it is used as a statement. Now let's look at you and me used as a statement. The principal called you and me to her office. You wouldn't say, or you shouldn't say, the principal called you and I into her office or to her office. Because taking away you from this equation or from this sentence, what you will be left with is the principal called me to her office. That's what you will say. The principal called me to her office. You wouldn't say the principal called I to her office. You'll say the principal called me. So when you're using that in connection to another person, you will say the principal called Peter and me to her office. The principal called you and me to her office. The teacher gave you and me extra homework. Not the teacher gave you and I extra homework. Because you wouldn't say the teacher gave I extra homework. You will say the teacher gave me extra homework. So the teacher gave you and I extra homework. Now, the next sentence, this award was prepared for you and me. This award was prepared for you and me. That's what you want to say. This award was prepared for me is appropriate. This award was prepared for I, absolutely inappropriate. Okay, so this award is prepared for you and me. Nobody told you and me about the change in timetable. Nobody told me about the change in timetable. So you shouldn't say nobody told you and I about the change in timetable. No, nobody told me about the change in timetable. So certainly it will become nobody told you and me about the change in timetable. The letter was addressed to you and me. Now let's take a quick look about at questions. How do you use this in questions? For example, are you and I the only ones invited? Are you and I the only ones invited? Are you and I? Am I the only one invited? That's what the you want to say. Are me or is me the only one invited? Sounds so weird. Okay, so am I the only one invited? So when you're using that in connection to another person, are you and me? Are you and I the only ones invited? When did you and I agree on that? Because you will say, when did I agree to that? When did I agree to that? You wouldn't say, when did you and me agree? When did you and I agree to that? Will you and I be presenting together? Will you and I be presenting together? Do you and I have the same timetable? Do you and I have the same timetable? Then have you and I met before? Have you and I met before? Because you can say, have I met you before? Have I met you before? Have you and I met before? Have you and I met before? Then we have questions for you and me. Did she choose you and me for the presentation? Because you should say, did she choose me for the presentation? So did she choose you and me for the presentation? Is this message meant for you and me? Is this message meant for you and me? Because you wouldn't say this message meant for I. You will say, is this message meant for me? So using that in connection to another person becomes, is this message meant for you and me? Why did they leave you and me out of the group? Why did they leave me out of the group? So why did they leave you and me out of the group? Who told you and me to wait outside? Who told you and me to wait outside? Or who told me to wait outside? Who told you and me to wait outside? Was the note written for you and me? Was the note written for you and me? Was the note written for me? Was the note written for you and me? So I'm trying to do that so fast so you can know. Okay. Now there is a hint or there's a key here as to when to use you and me. When a preposition comes before the blank, between, these are the prepositions between, for, to, with, by. When it comes before it, you know that you're always going to say you and me. Okay, so right, let's run to the next thing. This is one of my favorite topics when it comes to communication. I like this topic so much because it has to do with a rhythm. I like to call it a rhythm. Please don't mind this thing you see here. I was trying to generate yeah, I was trying to generate these slides because these slides are actually different from what I use every week in my presentation. I like to use different slides and all of that. So it actually saves me time when I just give the prompt and then they come up with this for me. But this was the nonsense they gave me. So, but don't worry, I'm explaining already. All right. And I believe that works. Okay, so intonation, I like it so much because I like to call it a speaker's secret weapon. Now, even before I started learning pronunciation, I've always had a way of, making my words, my sentences sound not just flat, but it's called a rhythm. it makes it almost look like you're trying to sing a song, but it's not you singing a song at all. So it's just you ensuring that you're not so flat. So sometimes you want to make your voice go up, just go up. And sometimes in your conversation and your communication, you see that you want to make your voice come down as well. So it's just how your voice goes up and comes down in your sentences, in your speech, in your conversation. You certainly don't want to just stay on a flat tone. You want to find those areas where your voice goes up and those areas where you want to ensure that your voice comes down. Now, why did I say I like this so much? It's because if you sound beautiful, sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, all right? Sometimes it has a way of covering the mistakes. So I like to call it beautiful nonsense. So you're saying nonsense, but you're saying it beautifully. And so it's not obvious that what you're saying does not really make any sense because of how you're saying it. So I like to just say it's a beautiful nonsense. Okay. But please don't just that was just meant for explanations. All right, so what is this really about? It is a music of language. It is how your voice rises and falls when you speak, and it helps to carry meaning. I tell my students that people can actually hear your emotions from the way you sound, from your tone. They can hear it. So you're talking to someone and then this person says, are you okay? It's not like you're complaining. You are not complaining. You're not nagging. You're not saying this is what happened today and you're listing all of the troubles that happened that day. That's not what you're doing. You're simply just having a conversation, but the person can sense it from your tone. No, 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 this emotion, this tone is not giving a happy emotion. This tone is not expressing a delighted emotion, so they can tell. So they just listening to you and they can tell, are you okay? And maybe they come over to see you and they say, oh, I'm so happy to see you. You just saying, I am so happy to see you, but that tone does not express your excitement. So people are able to not just hear your message in your voice, they can hear your emotion also from your voice. So that's one reason why this intonation is important. So when your voice, basically we have two types of emotions. When your voice goes up, it's called the rising intonation. When your voice falls, it's called the falling intonation. All right. So let's start with the rising intonation. What does this really mean? The rising intonation says that your voice must go up at the end of your sentence. And there are instances where we get to use the rising intonation. Okay. Now, number one, we use a rising intonation for what we call closed questions. Closed questions are also referred to as yes and no questions. Okay. Yes and no questions, that is, you ask a question, of course, you expect a response, but your response on the closed questions is limited to yes or no. So when you ask yes or no question, you want to be sure that you're using what we call the rising intonation. So stay with me. Stay with me, okay? Because at some point along here, I will need you to unmute your mic. I'll need you to unmute your mics and repeat these questions, okay? So just stay with me. So we have the first question. Are you coming to the meeting? That's what you want to say. You won't say, are you coming to the meeting? No. Are you coming to the meeting? That's a yes or no question. So you want to ensure that your voice goes up at the end. Are you coming to the meeting? Are you coming to the meeting? Are you, now I went up on you. Are you coming to the meeting? And I ended on a rising tone as well. Are you coming to the meeting? Another person can say, are you coming to the meeting? I'm just staying flat. Are you coming to the meeting? Are you coming to the meeting? Are you coming to the meeting? Did you send the email? 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 Is this your first interview? Is this your first interview? Use a rising tone every time you ask yes or no question. Is this your first interview? Can you speak confidently in public? Can you speak confidently in public? Have you prepared your presentation? Have you prepared your presentation? Do you understand the question? You shouldn't say, do you understand the question? Question, John, is coming down. Do you understand the question? Do you understand the question? Have you prepared your presentation? Can you speak confidently in public? Is this your first assignment? Are you okay? Are you tired? Do you want to eat? Do you want to sleep? Is your mommy coming here today? Have you spoken with your mother? Is your father okay? Oh, I haven't seen your father in a while. Is he okay? That's a yes or no question at the end of a sentence. I haven't seen your father in a while. Is he okay? Is he okay? All right. So if you're going to attach a yes or no question to whatever sentence, be sure to use a rising tone at the end. Okay, so I'm going to take listing items as well. Then I will need you to unmute your mic and read the questions for me. So when you list variables, when you list items, you want to be sure to go up on every single variable that you list, then come down on the last variable. So if you look at the sentences there, you find out that each variable has the arrow pointing up. That is to say, use a rising tone on that word, use a rising tone on that word, use a rising tone on the word, and then on that last word, use a falling tone. This is a statement. We don't use rising tone to finish a statement. We only use rising tone to finish yes and no questions, okay? So now this is a statement. We want to ensure that we come down, so we use a falling tone. However, but we have variables, we're listing items, we're listing variables in this statement. So on every variable, we use a rising tone to ensure to mean that we're not done listing. So the listener knows, okay, she's still going on, there's still more items coming, all right? And then once you use a falling tone, they know you are done. I needed to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback. Did you see that? I needed to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback. I came down. I didn't say I'm submitting feedback. That's not what I said. I said you and submit your feedback. It came down. That is to say, that is the end of it. I need you to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback. Now, number two, she spoke with clarity, confidence, good pace, and strong projection. She spoke with clarity. I didn't say she spoke with clarity, confidence, good pace, and strong projection. No. She spoke with clarity, confidence, good pace, and strong projection. I came down. The training covers pronunciation, articulation, intonation, and fluency. The training covers pronunciation, articulation, intonation, and fluency. He is skilled, experienced, well spoken, and ready for the role. He is skilled, experienced, well spoken, and ready for the role. So you go up on every variable and come down on the last variable. Okay, so Okay, so you said your network, you couldn't hear the other parts of it. Okay, so I'll just quickly run through it, all right? But you don't have anything to worry. Whatever it is that you miss out, the recording is available. You can always, I will send the recording to you, the link to the recording to you, so you can always go over it. You can always look at it, you can always listen to it. So what I'm saying is this. I'm starting again. When you ask yes and no questions, when you ask closed questions, they are called yes and no questions. You want to use a rising tone. Okay. When you list items, you want to use a rising tone on every variable and a falling tone on the last variable. Is that okay? So I'll run through the examples again. Are you coming to the meeting? Are you coming to the meeting? Did you send the email? Is this your first interview? Can you speak confidently in public? Have you prepared your presentation? Do you understand the question? Question that's going up. All right. So when you ask yes or no questions, you want to be sure to go up. Okay. Are you okay? Is she happy? Is she tired? Is your baby crying? Is your mommy at home? Have you eaten? Do you want to eat now? Those are yes or no questions. Go up at the end. When you're listing items, you go up on every variable and come down on the last variable. All right. I need you to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback. So this is me coming down on the last variable. She spoke with clarity, confidence, good pace, and strong projection. The training covers pronunciation, articulation, intonation, and fluency. He is skilled, experienced, well spoken, and ready for the role. Okay, so let's start with Miss Oreolua. Would you please unmute your mic and read the questions for me? So you start with the closed questions, read numbers one to the end, and then go over to the listing items. So read from the first one all through to the end as well. So please go ahead if you can hear me.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, the closed questions. Are you coming to the meeting? Did you send the email? Is this your first interview? Can you speak confidently in public? Have you prepared your presentation? Do you understand the question? Listing items. I need you to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback. She spoke with clarity, confidence, good pace, and strong projection. The training covers pronunciation, articulation, intonation, and fluency. He is skilled, experienced, well spoken, and ready for the role.
Very impressive. That was very impressive. Well done, Miss Ore. Okay, so I want you to walk with me through the first sentence under listing items. So you want to say, I need you to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback. Would you do that for me?
Okay. I need you to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback.
Very good. Well done. Well done, ma'am. Thank you so much. All right, let's have Miss Ruth. Are you here with us? If you're here with us, would you unmute your mic and read the questions and the items for me?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, for the close questions, are you coming to the meeting? Did you send the email? Is this your first interview? Can you speak confidently in public? Have you prepared your presentation? Do you understand the question? Then for the listening items, I need I need you to prepare the report, review the proposal, attend the meeting, and submit your feedback. She spoke with clarity, confidence, good pace, and strong projection. The training covers pronunciation, articulation, intonation, and fluency. He is skilled, experienced, well spoken, and ready for the role.
Okay, that's so good. Well done, ma'am. Well done. All right. So let me just make a correction to the pronunciation of this word. So maybe 90% of the times where you find E and X are the beginning of a word, not let's say 80% of the time when you find E and X are the beginning of a word, try not to pronounce it as experience. I'm citing an example with this word. So try not to say experience because most of the time, letter E in words like this sounds like its name and not the contemporary way it's meant to sound. Letter E naturally sounds but when you find E and X words at the beginning, letter E sounds E, so we say experience. So he is skilled, experienced, well spoken, and ready for the role. Okay, so that was just a correction to both of you. So let's look at eliminating filler words and verbal habits. Okay, how do we come about handling filler words? We're gradually winding down already. And I believe so far you've gotten some value, at least from what you've been listening to, what you've been hearing. Okay, so how do we handle filler words? What really are filler words? They are those like, those things that you we use. Now, let me be quick to say something. When you have just one of them in a word, in a conversation, maybe you're talking to someone and you say, basically, the thing is this, and da 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 da. That's not a mistake. That's not a problem. But when in a short speech of maybe 5 minutes, you get to say basically, maybe 5 times, strings of them. That's what we call when you string enough of them together. That's where the problem is. So you have a 5 minutes presentation or 10 minutes talk in class, in church, at your place of work, marketing on the field and wherever you find yourself. And then you get to say, so like I was trying to say, so actually the thing is this, that's where it becomes a problem. So those are what we call filler words. And one thing this exposes is the fact that you're thinking on the spot, which of course isn't wrong in itself to think on the spot. We all do that. But then it becomes so obvious that you're thinking on the spot. It becomes so obvious that you're trying to put your thoughts together. And that's where people now stop noticing, listening to what you're saying. So what they're doing at the moment is picking the filler words you're using. So they're trying to listen. She's going to use a filler word. She's going to. So when you say they say one, and say so like I was, like two. So basically three, stuffs like that. So that's where it becomes a challenge. You want to be able to have a 5 minutes presentation, a 10 minutes talk without having to say, so basically, actually, and you want to have to say them over and over and over again. It becomes an error in communication. Now, there are certain ways you can handle these things. One thing you want to do is know how to use silence in your communication. So, when you're talking, you want to be able to master the act of silence. It's not like a very long pause. You can't say because you attended a training and you were taught to use silence instead of filler words, so you just go on a 5 minutes blank and you're just staring. No, it happens usually. These things happens for maybe 3 to 5 quick seconds, and you find the right word you want to use. So in those instances where you have to think right on the spot, one thing that works is mastering what we call intentional silence. Okay, it's deliberate. You just take some time to take a pause. One thing that works for me, if I find myself a bit nervous on the stage, which of course happens very well. The fact that you've been speaking for decades doesn't mean when you're called upon one time and again, you won't feel nervous. You definitely will feel it. But what you do with it is actually what's important. Okay. So you want to not just stand there and let the nerves or tension and whatever it is you're feeling just take a hold of you, a whole grip of you. All right. So you want to be able to coordinate your thoughts. And because you're thinking fast on the spot, you want to take little pauses here and there to coordinate yourself. Personally, what I do is I try to speak slow. So if I'm called upon to say impromptu and someone say, okay, Becky, you just go ahead and do this. And I'll just start to say, okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. I don't take it for granted. While I'm trying to appreciate the person for the opportunity, I'm trying to put my thoughts together. I'm trying to look for the first word I'm going to say and link it to another word. I'm trying to look for the first idea that I will build on. And most times, if you haven't really been thinking so hard, but you've been listening, you want to start for what someone else said. So thank you so much for the opportunity to air my views or air my ideas about this particular area of what we're discussing today. Personally, I like this person's point of view because it handles this thing and that thing. However, I'd like to add that or include that or advise that, by that time you already found your footing, you found something to add to that. But I like to always go slow just so that I'm able to contain these filler words. So that's something that works for me, okay? However, other areas you want to try is to look for what we call a synonym. if you've put your words together, you've put your thoughts together while you were preparing your presentation, and you know that you want to talk about parenting and you want to talk about the character of the children, so you know that, how do I put it now? You know that there are synonyms that will be common, words that will be common in that line of vocabulary that you're talking about. So you want to be sure to use any of those vocabularies. So while you're thinking, if the main word you used in your material has escapes your memory, you can just use a synonym to fill in into the same. So when you're talking about character, you can change character to behavior. You can change it to habits. If you're trying to remember character, the character of those children is a concern. You can change it to habits. So while you said the habits of children, the behavior is actually a concern. You know, what you were trying to say is character, but you forgot the word character. So you're trying to bring about other synonyms. So that's another thing that can work. Now you try to, rather than say, I say as well, especially when I'm teaching. When I say I'm trying to get you to think my own perspective. I'm trying to get you to picture what I'm saying. So that's why I say and that's why I began the teaching by saying using this once in a while, any of this once in a speech, in a conversation, in a presentation might not really be a problem. But when you have strings of them together, so they litter the whole presentation, the whole speech you're giving, that's when it becomes a challenge. Okay. Basically, if you can, just go straight to make your point. Just go straight to say what you're saying. And please, when we pronounce this word, we don't say basically. The letter S does not make the sound Z like a Z. No, it stays the same way. So don't say basic. It's basic. And it's basically, not basically. It's basically, it's basic, it's basis, and it's base, base, base. So everything about this word, the S stays as an S. It doesn't change to Z in pronunciation in any way. So don't say so let's learn about the basic things. No, it is not the basic things. They are the basic things. Okay, so let's move on to this particular sound. I consider this sound to be the most important sound in English language. And of course, it is the most important sound in English language. It is called the schwa sound. It is articulated R. If you're looking at where my cursor is right now, that is the symbol you see there. It looks like an E, an upside down kind of E. That is a symbol. You find it also down here, an E, like it's facing the other way or like it's upside down. Okay. It's facing downward. So that's words that this is what the schwa sound is. It is the most significant sound in English language. That's one thing you want to know. Number two, the schwa sound is a weak sound. It can never take a stress. Number three, the schwa sound is so significant because it represents any of those vowel letters. We have 5 vowel letters: A, E, I, O, and U. The schwa sound can take on any of these sounds. Now, why does this sound really matter? I usually tell my students, if you want to work on your communication, if you're someone who is very intentional about working on good communication, you want to ensure that you master the schwa sound. When you master the schwa sound, you would have worked on your communication, on your fluency, on your eloquence for 50%. That would have been a 50% job done. So, why do we need to master the schwa sound? Okay, it is to help you avoid speech sound. When you avoid the schwa sound, when you master the schwa sound, you attain what is called fluency. It helps you to be fluent. This works especially in an area that we call connected speech. We will not be able to get into connected speech today. However, It's not a problem at all. I have a system where you could get to learn about connected speech. I like it so much. It is one of the areas of good communication, of eloquence, when you learn connected speech. However, we will look at some examples of some of the things you can find when we're handling connected speech, okay? So now, correct word stress, like I was trying to explain, when you look at the word character, when you say character, you put the stress, when you say character, you put the stress on the first syllable. But the stress for that word is not on the first syllable, it is on the second syllable. Because the letter A, when you have CHA, that letter A there makes the schwa sound. And the schwa is a weak sound. It cannot take a stress. So when you say character, you put the stress on the first syllable. So you say the schwa is stressed in that word, which is not accurate. The schwa can never be stressed. So it is character. Character. Another example is success. When you say success, I wish you success. You want to say, I wish you success. When you say success, the letter U in the word SUCCESS, the letter U in that word makes the schwa sound S. That's how the schwa sounds. So when you say success, you change the sound and you stress it. So you put the stress on the first syllable. But when you know that the schwa is the letter you makes the schwa sound, it cannot be stressed. So you can't put the stress on the first syllable. You put it on the second syllable. And that's how you come about having success. So knowing where the schwa falls helps you to stress the right syllable in every word. Success and not success, okay? Except when you use it as a person's name, it becomes a noun. As a person's name, it becomes a noun. And when we talk about nouns for two-syllable words, the stress stays on the first syllable. In that case, the letter U there will now make the sound which is the normal sound letter U makes. It will not make the schwa sound Okay, so it will, when you refer to a person, you say success. When you refer to wishing a person good luck, an amazing time in an exam, you wish them a beautiful time, profits, and all of that, you use success because it's something you wish to be. It's a doing, it's a verb in that case. So it becomes success, okay? Better listening. Many words sound different in connected speech. I said it earlier when we are talking about connected speech. I wish we will have the time to go into that, but that's not a problem at all. I have a detailed material on connected speech, and trust me, you will enjoy it when you start talking about assimilation and elision when it comes to connected speech. For instance, someone will say, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" In connected speech, it becomes, "What you doing? Watch." It becomes, "What you doing? What you doing?" Not "What are you doing?" It becomes, "What are you doing?" There's a technique that makes it work. It's called connected speech, and those are some of the things we explain in details when we start talking about connected speech. But that definitely isn't today. I'm just trying to tell you or give you an idea of what it means to connect speech. Okay. Then we have professional delivery in presentations, voiceovers, or public speaking. Mastering schwa sound gives your voice a polished, confident sound, which is very true. Just like I said, if you were able to master 50% of the schwa sound, the pronunciation of the schwa, my goodness, you would have worked on your pronunciation, on your communication generally by 50%. Let's take a look at these words. Most of these pronunciations, you will find them in the schwa, in connected speech, sorry. You'll find this in connected speech. Now, the accurate pronunciation for the word and is and. Don't get me wrong, okay? It is actually and. However, in connected speech, and becomes on. The schwa makes the sound ah. So in connected speech, this becomes on, okay? My mother and I, so I said my mother and my mother and I didn't say my mother and I, my mother and I, my mother and I. Now, if you notice also connected speech, what it did there was it linked the last sound in mother, the last r sound in mother, it linked it to the A and D. So that's why I said my mother run I. My mother run I. And it's my mother and I. My mother and I. Now I can say my mother and I can say it, my mother and I. However, in connected speech, we're trying to work on fluency. So when I say my mother and I, it kind of brings a pause or a slowness to my fluency. So because I want to flow so fast in connected speech, I'll just say my mother and I, my mother and I, my mother and I. So what I'm doing there is on, not and. Now, that's t. T-O sounds two, right? Two, two. However, in connected speech, it becomes to. Give it to her. Give it to her. Give it to her. Please give it to her. Please give the book to her. I'm not saying give the book to her. Give the book to her. I've said give the book to her. Give it to her. Give it to her. T. That's what I'm saying. Now we have the next one. For. For. The accurate pronunciation of this word is for. All right. For. This is for me. For. I just say for. This is for me. Is this for me? Is this for me? I didn't say this. Is this for me? Is this for me? It's correct. It's okay. Is this for me? That's connected speech. Of. Of. Of course, you know that the letter F in this word doesn't. In this word, it never sounds like a voiceless. It makes the voiced v. So letter F in this word always sounds of, like a V. It doesn't sound like an F. So letter F in this word makes the sound V, and it makes the V sound and not the F sound. Okay, so this is of. Of. What's the meaning of this? Of. What's the meaning of this? Of. All right. Now, I like this one so much. And please ensure that you listen to me properly when I'm explaining this. This is letter A. When you're reading a sentence or when you're speaking and your sentence has this letter A standing alone, by all means, please pronounce it as ah and not a. So don't say this is a bag. This is a bag. So don't say this is a bag. It's correct if you say that because you're saying this is a bag, a bag. I don't. In fact, I don't even. It sounds weird to me because I don't use it at all. This is a bag, a bag. Always pronounce letter A as a schwa sound when it is standing alone, and you will be absolutely correct. This is a bag. This is a bag. This is a bag. Oh my goodness. Is that a new car? 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 I said, is that a new car? Remember I'm saying car because it's a yes or no question. Is that a new car? A new car? I'm saying a, but now let's try it. Oh my goodness. Is that a new car? 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 A new car? So it's become so normal for me to always say and not a. So if there's anything you want to take from this meeting today, please learn how to always replace a in a sentence when it's standing alone with the schwa sound a. So don't say, that's a big house. That's a big house. That's a big house. That's a big house. You can say that, but under fluency, under eloquence, in your beat to sound very eloquent and very fluent, say, that's a big house. Ooh, that's a big house. That's a big house. So, that's a big house. All right. Please always try to say, that's a big house. That's a big house. Now let's look at this one, the. You want to say the, this word THE actually has two correct pronunciations. You can say the and you can say the. You can say the bag. You can say the orange. Now I changed the examples because there's a rule that applies to it. The rule is you need to know what's the next word that follows. If the next word that follows it begins with a consonant, you want to say the bag. It begins with a consonant. So there's consonant b. So you want to say the bag. If the next word that follows begins with the vowel sound, for instance, orange, the R sound. So you say the orange, the bag. The orange is okay in, yeah. The orange is in the bag. 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 All right. So you want to know what follows it, but don't worry. There's always a way to go about all of these things. Okay. Then we have this next one, can. This is can, but we can say con. And of course, this is but we can say but. Okay. All right. So let's take quick examples. We're rounding up already. Thank you so much for staying with me all this while. I sincerely commend your patience. So I need you to pay attention here because once I'm done pronouncing these words, you will unmute your mics and pronounce these words with me. Okay. So now these words, when you find the letter A, like I told you, the letter A can take the schwa can take the A sound. You can take the letter A, you can take the letter E, you can take letter I, letter L, letter U. It can take on any of the 5 vowels, all right? So we have, but let me quickly say this. When you find letter A at the beginning of a word, all of these words begin with letter A. 80% of the time, when you find letter A at the beginning of a word, it makes the schwa sound. It makes the schwa sound when you find A at the beginning of a word. So we see this one, about, not about. Ah, stop going about now. About, about. The schwa makes the sound R. So you want to just replace the A with R. So we say about, above, across, afraid, again, agree, alone, among, around, away. Account, even account number. Please send your account number. You wouldn't say, please send your account number. It's account. Adjacent. Oh, my house is adjacent there. Don't say adjacent and don't say adjacent. And don't say adjacent. Say or. The letter A at the beginning makes the R sound. Or the second A after D and J, the second A there makes the A sound. So letter A in that case sounds like its name. So you say A. Adjacent, adjacent. Account, abuse, access, accept. Please accept my apology. Apology is also not apologies. Apology. Adult. But you are an adult. Please, we're all adults in this place. Auntie, it is not adult. We're not all adults. We are all adults. Apologize is not apologize. Like I told you about stress. When you say apologize, you're not stressing appropriately. Apologize. Please let her render an apology. Okay. I'd like to apologize to her. That's what I'm trying to use. Apologize. Please, I'd like to apologize to her. Not apologize. Apologize. Okay. So we have about, above, across, afraid, again. Oh, I am so afraid. Or she is so afraid, not afraid. Again, agree, alone, among, around, away. You see this sound you find here? This is a nasal sound. This sound you find at the end of among is a nasal sound. So when you pronounce this word, please don't add the G. Don't say among. Okay, don't add the G. This N and this sound you find here covers for N and G as well. So when you say song, sing, and to sing a song, the G is silent. You don't hear it at all. When you say a king, the G is silent in king. In ring, the G is silent. They all make the nasal sound. This sound. So you don't need the G again. All right. So when you pronounce this word for me, do well to not use among. All right. So let's start. Let's start with Miss Ruth this time around. So would you unmute your mic and run through the pronunciations of these words for me? Miss Ruth, are you here? I see you are here. Have you gone out? Okay, let's have Miss Aurore. Please, would you unmute your mic and run through these pronunciations for me while we'll wait for her?
Okay. About, above, first, afraid, again, agree, alone, among, around, away.
Very good. This is very good. Thank you. Well done. You did excellently in this pronunciation. So let's move on. Miss Ruth, are you here now? Okay, let's run.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead and run through the pronunciations of those words for me. Of these words.
Okay. About, above, across, afraid, again, agreed, alone among.
Okay. Your pronunciations, the schwa sound isn't really obvious. So would you say with me, about? Say it. Sorry, would you come again? I didn't hear you. Okay. Thank God the recording is available. I think she has a little bit of network challenge or network glitch from her end. So we'll just move on. Let's look at the schwa sound at the middle, where we have the letter A at the middle. So this word is pronounced balance. Balance. You can see the schwa, the last second A there makes a schwa sound. So this is not balance, but balance. Okay. Excuse me. Balance. Then we have captain, not captain, captain. Then we have certain, certain. Then we have distance, distance. Then we have husband, no house, no husband, husband. Human, important, not important. Ah, this is so important. No, important, important. But then we have pleasant, pleasant, not pleasant, pleasant. Ah, what a pleasant surprise. No, pleasant. And it's not zant, it's zunt. Oh, zunt. Pleasant, pleasant, pleasant. Separate, separate, separate. Then we have woman, woman, woman. Now I like this sound the letter O makes here. O. So it's not woman, it's not oo, it doesn't make the oo sound, it makes the O sound. Woman, woman. And the A there does not make the sound woman. So it's not woman, it's woman, 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 woman. All right, let's look at the schwa sound at the end. We have agenda. Look at this word, you say agenda. What's the agenda for today? The letter A there makes the schwa sound. Agenda, agenda. So we have the schwa at the beginning and the schwa also at the end of that word. Agenda, agenda. Then we have arena, arena, not arena, not arena or arena. So it's arena. We have camera, criteria, extra, idea, pasta, pizza, sofa, visa. I run through them again. Agenda, arena, camera, criteria, extra, idea, pasta, pizza, sofa, visa. Okay, Miss Ore, would you unmute your mic and help me run through those words for me?
Okay. Agenda, arena, camera, criteria, extra, idea, pasta, pizza, sofa, visa.
Very good. You want to be sure to not use the ah sound at the end, but ah. Agenda, arena, camera, criteria, extra, idea, pasta, pizza, sofa, visa. So try it out, let's see.
Agenda, arena, camera. I don't think I. Sorry, can you say it again?
Agenda, arena, camera, criteria, extra, idea, pasta, pizza, sofa, visa.
Okay. Agenda, arena, camera, criteria, extra, idea, pasta, pizza, sofa, visa.
Okay, that's more like it. Well done, ma'am. Okay, so can we have Miss Ruth, please unmute your mic and run through the pronunciations of these words for me?
Okay. Agenda, arena, camera, criteria, extra, idea, pasta, pizza, sofa, visa.
Okay, that's so beautiful. Well done. All right. So we are going to wrap up for today here. And I believe that you have definitely picked something from what you've learned, from what we've heard today. Would you like to tell me? Let's start with Miss Ore. Would you like to tell me something that you picked from today's class?
I learned the two ways to pronounce the word the, the, and the. It is different when the next word begins with a vowel and with a consonant.
Very good. Very good. I like that. All right, let's hear you, Miss Ruth.
Okay, so although my network has been so bad, so I could barely hear most of the teachings, but I was able to pick the intonations, the rising and falling of intonations, and how to articulate your speech while talking, like using the silence, like instead of using some floor words that you instead use silence. So those are the major things I was able to pick from the class.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. All right, I sent something to the chat. Would you check? Would you look at that? I sent an image. Please let me know if you see it.
Yes, I see it.
All right, so this is me saying that this is not the finish line. It's only our starting. It's only the beginning. So for you to attain what we call the eloquence, the professional voice, this is only a tip of the iceberg. Remember, we listed about 10 elements of the professional voice, 10 elements that leads to professional voice. We have, you need to master diction and pronunciation. You need to master public speaking. You need to master intonation and so many others. Grammar, there's so many things to look at that we don't really find the time to look at all of them in details today. However, we have good news. Part of what this package comes with, which is the professional voice, part of the bonus for the package is that we are actually admitting students into the academy with on discount. Amazingly, our courses at the academy range from 20,000, 30,000, and it's self-learning. You have the time to learn by yourself. You don't have to book an appointment with me all the time. All you have to do is just send your assignments. Of course, we do have that package that allows you to have a one-on-one session with me, but that's a different package. If that's what you want, it's very available. However, we're looking at people's schedule, their work, they have a lot of items and of schedules going on, a lot of meetings and plannings, in life. But then you also want to make progress. You also want to learn. You want to become better. You want to be able to express yourself clearer, sound more confident. And so that's why we are running a discount now. So we are admitting students to give them a complete package that covers diction and pronunciation, covers public speaking, covers intonation. We also have what is called the Preacher's Eloquent Guide, but that's definitely for preachers. I definitely will not bring you into all of that. However, if you want to learn it, why not? It's part of the package that this covers. So we're admitting students into the academy for 12,500 naira only. Amazing. So if you're interested, these are the bonuses that comes with it. We are giving out our workbook. It's called Mastering Diction Workbook. In this workbook, you find grammar, lots of grammar corrections and mistakes that we make. You find it there. You find intonation, you find pronunciations, and all of that. And of course, we are giving out our magazine. This is our newest publication. We're giving out this magazine. It's called Vela Magazine. Inside the Vela Magazine, you will not just find articles, you will find pronunciations as well. We have what is called the Vela Classroom. In the Vela Classroom, we learn about, you have something to learn every month. And through the 12 months of the year, you have something that you're learning from the Vela classroom. So you have 12 things you would learn aside what you'll be learning, aside the courses you will be taking on the platform, and aside what's included in your mastering diction. So this is more like 3 channels through which you will be learning. So if you're interested in signing up or enrolling into the academy, just leave me a message on WhatsApp and we will take it up from there. You're free to tell me if you want a one-on-one session, or you simply just want to get enrolled in for this package where you get to learn by yourself and simply submit your assignments directly to me. I'll review them, make corrections, and send them back to you. This course has over 40 topics that we will be looking at. Today, we've only been able to look at just 3 topics, just 3. In everything, we've been looking at filler words, a short sound, and intonation. Those were the only things we looked at. And we didn't even go into details to talk about the schwa sound. However, in the classroom, we will be going into details to learn all of these things. So this is an offer I'm making to you. I do expect you to give it a deep thought and make a decision. So do you have any question for me? Any question? Miss Ruth, do you have a question? Or Miss Aurora, do you have a question as well?
No question from me.
Okay. Miss Ruth, you have a question for me?
Actually, I would. Oh my God. I would have loved to ask questions, but I didn't really get the stuff. So maybe I'll need to go back to it and then send any questions I'll have later on. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much too. And the correct pronunciation for that word is not question, it's question. So you want to say question. That's how it's pronounced in British English. So please take note of that. All right, so in that light, we will call it a day. Thank you so much for your time. I will upload the recording and send the link to you. We usually upload our classes on to our YouTube channel. So I will upload this to the YouTube channel. You can just I'll send it the link to you, and so you can always go there to keep learning, go over it again, and all of that. So thank you so much for your time. And this is where we call it